G'day, I'm Peter Fritz, and I've got a question for you. What do you think is the one thing that can make you a better photographer? Or writer? Or singer? Dancer? Coder? Knife maker? Guitarist? Pianist? Drummer? YouTuber? Well, practice certainly helps. After all, it's very hard to excel at anything without doing a lot of it. Or more to the point, to make it through the sucky phase until we finally like what we see. Mentors, teachers, coaches, and fellow travellers all have their place too. It's more fun when we do it together, when we're curious enough to seek guidance and generous enough to share our progress. Likewise, a muse can light a fire of inspiration and lead us down roads less travelled, while stripping away old insecurities and limiting self-beliefs. Now, the muse might be a person, but it could just as easily be the art itself. For me, it's the landscape and the way it changes moment to moment, season to season.
So if it's photography that you want to do, then you're not going to reach for a paintbrush or a guitar pick or an angle grinder. No, chances are you'll already have the basics. You'll already have a camera of some description. You might even have a couple of lenses and a tripod even. But these days, with the quality of smartphones, that might be all you have. And that's fine. Either way, job done. Being willing to practice incessantly, finding somebody to learn from, finding my source of inspiration, and being willing to suck long enough to actually get good at something, and putting together a few well-chosen tools. All of these things, all of them have moved the needle for me to varying degrees, and they've each taken turns pushing me forward and at the same time helping to elevate the pleasure that I get from landscape photography, or whatever it is that I'm applying these principles to. As soon as I stepped outside the van, it started pissing with rain. So here we are back inside the van. So getting to the point, the one thing that has made all the difference to my photography career and so many other parts of my life and other careers that I've had is this. What you think of me is none of my business. And it's the same for you. What others think of you is none of your business. You see, had I worried what others thought of me, I would never have penned my first article for my favourite motorbike magazine when I was 16. And had I worried what the publishers' or editors' view of my overtures were, then I would have quit while I was behind. Instead, they published my story and I went on to have an incredible career with a stable of car and motorcycle magazines, doing stuff that no amount of money could buy. From having private test sessions with MotoGP stars and receiving personal tutoring from a world F1 champion on how to drive a BMW M5 quickly on a racetrack. You know, driving my first Lamborghini when I was 18 on P-plates. Some incredible experiences hanging out of a helicopter, 3 feet off the deck in the middle of the outback, photographing the Australian safari, and staying in presidential suites at hotels all across Australia, flying in private jets. There were so many cool experiences that I had, many of which I didn't appreciate until many years later when I left that profession. It all came down to really not caring what others thought of me stepping outside what they would find comfortable and actually writing an article, sending it to my favourite magazine, expecting it to get published and then getting published, and then convincing the managing editor to actually give me a shot to work at that place full time. All these things are because ultimately I had enough confidence in myself not to be concerned about other people's opinions. I'll give you another example. If I'd have worried about the owner's view of a 13-year-old leaving 15 messages in 15 days at his fitness club because I wanted a job there, then I would never have been able to work and save up for and pay cash for my very first brand new motorcycle at the age of 14. And I would never have seen that couple have sex in the spa either. Had I worried what others thought of me, I wouldn't have had the audacity to contact a very specific car dealership to convince them why they needed to hire me. Nor would I have phoned up the CEO of a software company while he was holidaying in Spain to tell him that I was the man for the job. And as a result of that, I was able to become the NSX sales manager for one of my favourite brands, to regularly drive, still to this day, one of my favourite cars of all time, the Honda NSX, because of my willingness to do something that others might have found uncomfortable and to not be concerned about people's perception of my confidence. I've been able to build a 25-year friendship with the CEO of the software company, and we'll be good friends until he dies, or I die, whoever goes first. If I'd have worried what others think, I wouldn't have written a book. I wouldn't have started a podcast and recorded 100 episodes. I wouldn't have created 3 different blogs, 2 of which went on to become more popular than any of the websites that I built for any of my clients. I wouldn't have started a YouTube channel, and I wouldn't have made that decision 20 odd years ago to be a stay-at-home dad. And as a result of those decisions, I wouldn't have experienced the immense satisfaction from meeting, working with, and communicating with interesting people all over the world through my work on those blogs and that podcast. And with my kids, I wouldn't have developed the relationship that I have with them today, despite the impact of a divorce in their early years. Had I not been a stay-at-home dad and spent a lot of time with them, I doubt that the period through the divorce and after would have gone anywhere near as smoothly with the kids. I've realised after 40 odd years of doing lots of different things that nobody ever really cared whether I tried something or not. Ultimately, the people that mattered didn't mind. And the people that did mind, well, they never really mattered. So if you want to become great at something, whatever that thing is, or you just want the freedom to enjoy it on your terms, just remember what anybody else thinks of you is none of your business. Life is short, and your mission, if you choose it, is to enjoy it while it lasts.